Hi, greetings to all the viewers. We all understand going to college is a big decision. So, in the same series, we have invited today Miss Anju Jairaj. She is the Director Outreach from Rishihood University. And today we will talk about this university. And I'm sure you have different interests and different parameters that you would like me to discuss with Anju, and we will take up those questions in this podcast. So we welcome you,
Thank you
Anju,
so
for this meeting today.
Thank you.
And you have come all the way from Rishihood University, Sonipat. We are really thankful that you have come over here. So, Anjuji, we would like to know a little about Rishihood University, first of all. How did it come into existence, and what is the philosophy behind this university? Because we have heard a lot about this university. It is coming up very well, and it's among the buzz, especially when it comes to students when we interact with them. So tell us in brief about this university.
So Rishi, we started in 2020. Usually jokingly say that we and COVID started together, and some impactful things that came up together after that as well. But I think the idea was that can we build an institution that can marry both solutions for certain problems that are embedded in our own cultural systems, in our own knowledge systems that are there in India. So that's the idea which we started it. We're an impact university. When I say impact, in fact, a lot of students do ask me this on a very regular basis that you're talking about impact, but what do you actually mean by that as well? I think at Rishihood we have a triple impact story that we want to build. Every learner, every student who comes into Rishihood to pursue any particular program that we have, we would want them to go through three impact cycles. Number one is professional impact, which means that the sort of training that they go through, the sort of academic rigor that they go through, or the sort of industry exposure that they get across their courses aligns them well enough that their professional skills are good enough so that they can go to the industry, even whether they want to start up something of their own as an entrepreneur or they want to join organizations. They are getting into organizations at very meaningful positions, and they are getting into positions that can actually create an impact within that particular line as well. So that's from a professional impact perspective. The second type of an impact is my public impact. Anything that is done, if it does not have a way to come back to the society and give back to the society, I think it becomes very meaningless. So I think that's the thought process when it came to public impact as well. So we have a very strong inclination towards social impact. A lot of our students, they have to compulsorily go through community internships, community engagement. And when I say community internships, it doesn't mean that, okay, fine, let me take you somewhere. I'll ask you to clean up this place and this is done. The entire drive is done. No. They work very closely with the communities around. For example, we have a project called as City as a Lab. So we consider Sonipat, the city itself, as a lab, wherein our students are working on various problems that the city will face and what are the areas that we can actually help in. For example, if you look at my design students right now, we're talking to officials to try and see that can we redesign or can we relook at some of the spaces within the city to make them more feasible, at the same time also make them more beautiful to look at. So I think there are a lot more projects like this, whether it's research, whether it's understanding the behavior of the society as well, that psychology students go through or so on and so forth. So that takes care of the public impact part of it. And the last one is personal impact, which I believe a lot of institutions should focus on, but we've stopped focusing on. Uh, we are constantly in this maze that we want our children to get the highest scores possible. We want them to excel. We want them to become a superstar. You have to be a good footballer. You have to be a good debater. You also have to be very good at academics and everything. We are consistently ignoring what the child is actually going through, and are we even helping them? Align for life. I'm teaching you for design. I'm teaching you for psychology. I'm teaching you for entrepreneurship. but I'm not teaching you for life. So tomorrow when the kid goes out to the market or starts living life, they don't know how to maneuver relationships. They don't know how to go through understanding themselves and trying to see what is the best possible thing for them. So the personal impact quotient focuses on that. We have a full-time life and mindfulness coach on campus who works with the students on a regular basis to try and understand, what is it that makes you as such. In fact, one of our foundation courses is called the Science of Self-Discovery, where students actually try and understand, deep dive within themselves, to build an inner curriculum as such. We call it an inner curriculum. So there's sports, there's yoga, there's a lot of spiritual practices, a lot of other things as well, which are from a mindfulness perspective, and sort of help the child figure out where their potential lies. Rishihood, the word itself, it means the state of your highest potential. It was coined by Swami Vivekananda in one of his discourses. Swamiji is our philosophical mentor, and I believe that everyone needs to approach their own Rishihood. So if that can be done, via this impact journey that we want to take in, I think that's what we want to offer students as well.
So you are including the spiritual aspects also in the program?
Yes. So if you look at the way
As
that the
name
undergraduate
suggests, like Rishihood.
Rishihood, see, everyone is a Rishi. So I'd like to clarify this. A lot of people think that, Rishis, they're going to have long hair people and bearded and all of that.
Same
That's not necessary. That's not necessary. You look at Virat Kohli. He's achieving so well within his entire play. He is a Rishi as well in that sense. So modern day Rishi is someone who's known that, this is the area that I can build my potential into, and this is the place that I can do really well. So it could be Virat Kohli, it could be APJ Abdul Kalam, it could be Narayan Murthy. There are so many people. We want the child to go ahead and figure that potential of his own. If you're able to go through with that, then I think we've achieved our work in terms of ensuring that you are a complete person when you get out of the throes of the university.
So, what kind of programs you run at Rishihood University that can be taken by the students?
Currently, at the undergrad level, I'm offering 4 courses. We have a bachelor's in psychology, BA honors in psychology, which again marries traditional psychology concepts like counseling, cognitive, a little bit of clinical as well. And then you marry that with a concept like neurosciences, so that you have a scientific element and you have a tech element to your psychology program as well. That's in fact the dean for psychology for the School of Psychology and Education with us. Dr. Sushil is one of India's best neuroscientists. He spent about 3 decades at the DRDO. So naturally he understands that yes, you have psychology as a base, as a humanitarian base, a humanities base. Can I add up a scientific part to it as well? And it becomes much more pervasive in terms of the sort of career opportunities that you have. So that's one program. Then we have a Bachelor's of Design, which comes under our School of Creativity. Again, creativity cannot be limited, and it's very personal. So naturally, every design student also goes through. It's a space where you build and create designs for the future. It's very tech oriented in itself. So you have students pursuing product design, you have communication design. We've recently introduced a specialization in immersive media technologies within the design course. And of course, we have fashion and textile, interior architecture, and so on and so forth. So that is one program. And the third one is a Bachelor's in Business and Entrepreneurship, which is a BBA program, but the focus is on business and entrepreneurship. The idea being that can I create more and more entrepreneurs within the country as well. At an early age, and I feel that entrepreneurship is no longer it's no longer something which is equivalent to you starting a business. If I have to work, like today I have a team of say 10, 12, 14 people. If I am hiring someone and if that kid does not exhibit the qualities like an entrepreneur, whether it's initiative, whether it's the way that he thinks, then I don't think the person is going to be able to survive in the long run within an organization as well. So it's not necessarily entrepreneurship, it's also entrepreneurial thinking. And you have to be trained across both. So students get an incubation fund. There are international treks that we organize to countries like London, or you have Singapore. India, of course, is there. Israel, we included now. We're just trying to see how that business environment can function, because they are very very strong startup environment.
Okay. Yes.
Such.
Yes.
So
yes.
we are building in those aspects within the program, so students can understand hands-on as to what it is to do. And we have an incubation fund, about 5 CR, which is available for the students. We want them to incubate. We want them to collaborate with each other. So those are 3 courses that are at the non-tech side, and then I have a bachelor's in technology, a BTech program in computer sciences and AI as well, which is in partnership with another facilitator. So these are 4 courses that are focusing at the undergrad level. As of now. Yeah,
that's great. So it's like pretty comprehensive. You have social sciences to design to tech to business. So almost all the branches you are covering. That's great. And what kind of student you need for these programs? Because I'm sure there must have been some selection process that a student has to go through. He should have, or she should have some kind of profile that is suitable to a particular course.
Yes.
So just give us some idea to our viewers.
Okay, so it's a very tricky question usually that I get asked. Let's look at the admission process. Within the admission process, I'm looking at 5 elements to go ahead and understand whether that child is good enough to come in, or rather, do we have a vibe? Right? It's as simple. As a university, am I finding the right student? So one, obviously, I'm looking at is your past academic records. Predominantly your grade 10, 11 scores. 12th, for students who graduated, they can of course mention their 12th. For the ones who are appearing in 12th right now, it's necessary, it's not important, and I'll tell you why as well. So outside of past academic records, there are extracurriculars. Again, extracurriculars doesn't necessarily have to be that you need to be a national level player or you've done music, dance, theatre, etc. All of that, yes, but even if you have maybe attended some conferences or you've attended some networking events and you've learned something,
you should have.
You've learned something and you're able to talk about that, I think that's necessary. Then we have a very strong section on the statement of purpose, which has a set of questions that the student is supposed to answer. It's a window for us to know the student better.
So generally in one application, how many questions you have for
about
SOP?
About two or three
essays
questions are there. Shorter essays, but at the same time, those are given to the student so that you can give us information which is much more beyond your marks and extracurriculars and certificates and that. So what are your beliefs? What are your passion areas? How do you want to actually build your degree and use that outcome for what sort of a thing? What are your plans? And even if you're someone who comes and says that I have a remote interest in psychology, but I don't know where am I going to use it, I'm okay with that. But tell me, when you now know that you want to get into psychology, what are the things? What have you done to come to this conclusion as well? So I think those couple of questions are there in the SOP, and SOP takes in almost 30% of weightage in my selection.
Okay.
So I have rejected
30%
students.
Is good weightage.
Yes, so I have rejected students in the past with a 10 on 10 GPA in grade 10 because their SOP was not up to the mark. So I think that is one area that we really like students to work on. And outside of that, we have an aptitude test of our own, or if there are students who are giving the SATs, maybe right now in December, October.
So SAT test is
SATs
accepted.
are accepted. So we're a part of College Board as well. So they can apply to us through the SAT, or they write our own aptitude test. For creativity students, there's a separate component which is the design aptitude part within the aptitude test. And then they have their personal interview. And these are 5 parameters. These are done across 4 or 5 cycles. So I have my first cycle, application cycle will get over by 30th of November. And then one I have is end of Jan, mid of April, and then end of July. Now, for a student to come in with us, there are 3 attributes that I'm going to look at. Any admissions person within my team is going to look at 3 attributes. Number 1, are you curious enough?
Okay.
Now, how do you showcase that curiosity depends on you. How you write your statement of purpose. How do you show me your story the way that you've written it? How do you sort of converse with your panelists as well? But showing an element of curiosity is very important. And the reason for it as well is because the curriculum for the undergrad programs has been built as such. All of our students, whether you're a design student or a bachelor's BBA student or a psychology student, all of them go through a common foundation semester, which is my first semester. Idea is I'm going to align you to lifelong skills. You may do whatever specializations that you want to do, but you have to have certain skills that are important and relevant to you at any point of time. So you have courses like digital and visual communication. You have courses like statistics and data sciences. A lot of times design students will come and ask me, "Bhai, मेरे को तो design करना है." You know, I'm a creativity student. I didn't want to do maths and you're making me do stats and data science. But then if you don't know stats and data science, how will you actually go and tell your client that your design is actually making sense? So you need to know some basics of that. Similarly, subjects like understanding India. You have to come out and work here. So it's necessary that you understand the country, the diversity that it offers, both cultural as well as economical, and then try to put things in context. We have courses like Global Grand Challenges, where we're discussing with students on issues like mental health, issues like terrorism. This is discussed openly in class, because unless and until I don't know those problems, what am I going to solve for?
Correct.
Right? So this happens in the first semester. Now, if I get a student who's rigid and he says that nahi, mere ko to yahi karna hai, and I'm not open to going and exploring other things, it becomes very difficult for me.
Correct.
In the third year of the program, for any of these courses, we allow them to take a minor specialization. So a design student can take a psychology minor. A psychology student can take a public policy minor. Or
so say across all your 4 schools, you can have. Is it a liberal university?
It's a liberal education based university. Yes, it is an interdisciplinary program. We don't want students to go everywhere all the time. But having said that, how can I make my degree much better? How do I build my curriculum in that sense? So if I'm doing, for example, if I'm a design student, by the time I come to the third year, I've done my lifelong learning skills oriented bit. I've done my foundation for design. I've chosen my specialization. So let's say if I'm going to get into communication design, right? So I've chosen communication design. By the third year, I'm set. I know the theory. I know the practice. I've done 2 internships by then. I've done a community internship. I've done an industry internship. So I know the applicability. But now I want my outcome to be better. I want to probably go and start something of my own at the end of the 4-year degree. So can I take a business minor and get to know what is it in business that I really need to learn? I come down to the 4th year. I know now how to run a business. I know my core product knowledge is solid. But I also want to understand my customer's behavior, my customer's mindset. I take another minor in the 4th year, which is in psychology. Or you could also take in minors in sustainable development.
All your programs are 4 years?
All of them are 4 years. All of them are 4 years.
So,
For BBA psychology, you do have an exit option after
Exit
3.
option is there?
Yes. I think exit option now with the NAP is there after every year.
Yeah, it's for every year.
But then you do get a degree after 3 years, but I would prefer that they go for 4 years because that builds the base very strongly for a master's as well. And you get to do so much research. It's much more detailed. Your understanding is much more detailed. You can convert a minor into another major. So multiple combinations. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि 4 साल के बाद बच्चा आपसे कहे कि सर आपने बताया इसीलिए मैं फंस गया. That is your curriculum. You're building it. You need to be the one responsible to ensure that the outcome that you're looking for is the one that you've built for yourself. So curiosity is important in that sense. If you're curious, then you need the courage to try out something new. So can I then have some place where they are showcasing that courage, the courage to go ahead and embrace changes and be able to handle them.
Because we Indians are very risk averse.
We are very risk averse.
Right from our
and
family
children
backgrounds.
And children are not.
Children are not.
We're conditioning them to become
risk
averse in that sense. So courage is necessary. And of course, at the end of the day, whatever you've done till now, are you experiencing joy in it? So I think these 3 attributes, what is the sense of liking that I have? When I'm doing something, yes, I did this and I really enjoyed it. Or I did this because someone just said, ye kar lo, aapke profile mein extra number mil jayega. And it's no point. So these 3 attributes need to be shown by the student, and the interview is not a rejection
It's
for
not a
us.
rejection process.
Interview is more for us to get to know you. I keep telling these kids that interview is like a vibe check. So I need to know whether your vibe and my vibe sets in perfectly well, whether you'll do well within the university or not. If you don't do well, you might be the best student in the world, but if it's not going to set in with each other, I might as well have you go ahead and figure something
Look for
else
something
out.
else.
Yeah.
Great. So it is really great to know about how you ensure holistic development of the students, and the selection process is really interesting and exciting, right, for all the viewers, those who are looking into it. Now, we would also like to know about how you get the faculties, from where you draw these faculties, and who are your advisors and maybe board members.
Okay.
Tell us in brief a little about them also.
So Rishihood is an amalgamation of a lot of people from different backgrounds who've come together to build the university, right? People who want to build a legacy in education as well have come in. So some of our founders include someone like, let's say, Suresh Prabhuji, who's an ex-cabinet minister. So he's from the public service, the social service background. You also have someone like Motilal Oswal ji, who is one of the best financial guys in the entire country. Runs Motilal Oswal Investments, so his entire focus is on finance, but this is a place where he wants to build his legacy as well. Then you also have someone like Dr. Chandraprakash Trivedi, who is a Padma Shri awardee himself. He's a filmmaker, he's a media. In fact, very fondly we keep telling people that if you have had the chance, maybe not the students, maybe their parents, if they've had the chance, long back, Didi used to run this show called as Chanakya.
Chanakya, yeah.
And Dr. Dwivedi was Chanakya. He was the one who directed that series, he was the one who played that role as well. So he has a lot of authority in the Indian knowledge systems also. So he brings in that perspective. Then, of course, the CEO and co-founder Sahil is there. He's a young guy. He's from IT Delhi, and very driven to do something within education. Shobhit sir, the Vice Chancellor, is from IIT Bombay, then ISB Hyderabad, has worked with Amazon at US for a long time. At the cusp when Amazon was just an e-commerce company to becoming the tech giant that it is today. So all of these are from very, very different backgrounds. And the idea is that can we come together? We also have people from the spiritual side who are part of it. Dr. Chinmay Pandya is there. So there are so many people from different backgrounds who have come together. Therefore, the network is vast in terms of the industry exposure or the exposure to the right set of people who will help you shape your mind. I think that network is very strong. And then if you look at it from the faculty perspective also, I think we want Global Minds to be part of our cohort. We want people from different backgrounds to come in and teach our students as well. So there's someone like Dr. Sanjeev who spent a large amount of time in the US. He has taught with Yale, he's taught with Dartmouth, he's taught with a lot of Ivy League colleges as well. Now has baggage, everything done, and he's on campus, based on campus, and he runs the policy programs for us. Similarly, Dr. Sushil is there. Dr. Manika has been a stalwart in creativity for quite some time. So she's run institutions like Pearl and a lot of other places as well. She works very closely with the government of India as well. So a lot of these people come in from different backgrounds, and the idea is, I usually tell students that look for global exposure. But global exposure, two types of that. One is that your university gives you an opportunity to maybe go abroad. So whether it's a small trek or it's a semester exchange, whichever way that you can go and build it. Or you bring in people with that experience to come to the campus and teach you. So either ways, it is the sort of exposure that you get as well.
So both ways you have
people
coming, let's say, to your university from international places, or your students going international. So do you also have some credit programs with them?
So we have some semester exchange courses. We have some treks which are a week-long, 10-day-long international immersion that happen, which are credit-oriented as well. So I think before semester exchanges as well, it's advisable that the child sits with the dean, understands how many credits will I earn there, because वापस आके आपको यहाँ पे degree खत्म करना है. So are you able to cover up those credits, the ones that you missed out, and so on and so forth. So once that discussion is clear, they can look at opportunities abroad as well.
So today we are talking a lot about skill building, experiential learning, hands-on training. So how we ensure these things, means what is the role of industry, let's say, in your programs? How do you get them and students take advantage of the experience behind that things?
So technically industry exposure has to be there.
Yes.
Otherwise, and if I were in a place like, I don't know, XYZ town somewhere else, it's very difficult for me to access industry. But for Sonipat, it's 1 hour, 1.5 hours away from Gurgaon. Industry access is very simple. Plus, with the sort of network that we have a career advancement cell that works with students as well, very closely to try and see who are the people who can come in and talk to students on different topics. At the same time, also on topics that are relevant to them at the end of their degree. So if it's creativity, I had someone from CII who'd come down. We've had filmmakers who come down. We've had someone like Ruth Berry is on our board of studies for creativity. So she also looks at what sort of curriculum are we delivering. And they have mandatory internships. So all of these students, at the end of the first year, you have a community internship that you need to do, which could be with an NGO, with a social organization, a policy organization, and likewise. At the end of the second year, they have an industry internship that they work across with different companies. At the end of third year also, they do an industry internship, which is a little
so do you have a particular cell who manages these things?
Yes. So we have a career advancement cell which functions independently. Their role is to ensure that each of these students are mapped with respect to the role, the domain that they'd like to look at, what sort of training do you need to give them, how to build in a LinkedIn profile, how do you start working across with that, how do you connect with people. So that is one part that is necessary.
Correct.
And outside of that, also the deans. The deans in the faculty cohort also work very closely with students. So, for example, design, I think this year my third year students had gone in for internships with stipends easily between 10, 15,000, 20,000.
Okay.
So they do get stipends as well. They work a lot. In fact, for School of Creativity, the motto is that you have to earn while you learn. So, but these are internships that are mandated. Now, outside of that, जब भी छुट्टी होती है, आप क्या करते हो? That's your call. So a lot of my students
students can do their own projects or internships.
They do on-campus internships. A lot of them. So if someone wants to learn about marketing, social media marketing, or whichever way, they intern with my team. And they intern on a paid basis. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि they don't get paid. So they can work across. They can learn that skill. If they don't want to go somewhere outside, it's a short break. You can just do it with us. Or if you want to do off-campus roles as well, they keep looking around and deans help us. We help them. Wherever possible, how much ever that you can, pull from us, that's your call.
Because, when you go with these things like skill building, experiential learning, let's say industries participating, then I think the process of placement, become very easy.
It's easier. And you learn a lot about what the expectation of the companies.
Because industry also understands, what kind of candidate on the other side is.
So, for example, now we have a BBA program. Business and Entrepreneurship program has a set of mentors who are industry mentors, who are CEOs, CXOs, or top level management, officials of various companies who will be mentoring cohorts. So they have, let's say, 4 or 5 students under them. Each particular mentor has, say, 5 or 6 students under them, where they go ahead and mentor students with respect to how they need to move across these 3-4 years of their business and entrepreneurship. Now, how am I building that relationship? Motilal Oswal came to the campus a year back. Now, he's not someone who's going to have free time. He's not someone who's going to say, 9 to 5 aapka college hai, to main usi ke beech mein aunga. He's not going to do that. He came to the campus at around 8 o'clock in the evening, winter, spent dinner with the students, had a bonfire with them, did all of that till 1, 2 in the night, slept off for an hour, 3:34 he left for this thing. Now, in that 4-5 hour engagement, all of the students have met him. But how many of them have been able to go through and follow that through so that they have a connect with him, they are able to get some more network out of it. So I think that level students also need to work in. And this is a conception that I think a lot of parents have कि आपने college में डाल दिया, मैंने fees भर दिया तो placement हो ही जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं. It's a two-way process. मैं plate में आपको कुछ भी नहीं देने वाली.
Correct.
I cannot even recommend you to an industry unless and until you've not improved your skill. So it's a two-way process, and both the university as well as the students work through with it, so that whatever placements that you need to get, whatever companies that you need to go for, you're able to go ahead and get that part.
So what is the culture in the college like? Is it 24/7? Like all the students compulsorily live inside the campus, or is it like you have dayboarding? Or
we don't have dayboarding. It's a compulsory residential campus. So everyone does stay on campus. But yeah, they are allowed to go out and come back. We have certain cut-off timings by when they need to come back to the campus. If the parents are informed, the warden is informed, they can move out and come back. Having said that, we wanted to keep it compulsory residential also because there are a lot of benefits. See, there are about 7 or 8 parameters
Mm.
that every child should look for in any institution, not just Rishihood.
Absolutely.
Right? One is a residential campus. Because if it's a residential campus, then
That's the worry of most of the parents, because
It's the worry
especially
for
about
most
the
of the
girls' child,
Absolutely.
they want a secure campus where they can freely interact,
Very
learn.
true. Very true.
That kind of environment is
So
all
there's
dependent on it.
safety, security for sure. The other thing is that you are not cutting yourself off from what you actually came in for. Unlike a day boarding college where you'll go probably in the morning at 9, you come back at 5 and then you watch Big Boss and it's done. See, where is that learning actually coming up to? आपने सब कुछ सीख लिया, उसके बाद कहाँ जा रहा है? Residential campus, you're forced to do assignments with your with your peers. You're graded on assignments. So if you and I are in a team and I perform well, you don't, both of us are not going to get marks. Because we were supposed to work in as a team, right?
Correct.
So most of these group assignments happen after class, after 5, 6, 7. And then we're also talking about holistic development. So I need to give you an environment where you can have sports. So we have a beautiful sports complex on campus. Sports is mandatory for students. They have a curriculum for it. So we need to get the child to go ahead, get into a sporting activity and achieve a certain outcome at the end of the year, 2 years and likewise. So they do a lot of sports, they do a lot of activities. There's something or the other happening on campus all the time. Sometimes there's Garba night, sometimes there's entrepreneurship mela, sometimes there's something or the other. The idea is that
it's a happening campus.
We have students from 26, 27 states and international students who are on campus. So you have a melange of cultures happening. Right from Onam to Holi, everything is celebrated. So it's a good way to also learn that tomorrow your workplaces are also going to be as diverse. They're not going to be all Meerut together or all Delhi together. Right? They're going to be diverse, so you need to be prepared for that.
Absolutely, great to know about this. And because there are all kind of classes in our society, those who look for getting good education today, and there are set of people, those who do not have affordability, because this is one of the prime reasons, people, especially girls child, they get deprived of, getting good education. So how we can ensure that maybe your university can ensure that a genuine student who needs to, get good education has not to worry about the fee part.
We have a very strong scholarship. Last year also, I think we told her about 1.5-2 crores of scholarships easily. The idea is again financial hindrance should not really,
because I have heard
come
somewhere
into it.
it's written on your website, it's a social impact.
It is an impact.
So,
like I said, so there is no way that I would deny admission to someone because they are not able to pay up. That's not there. There are multiple avenues. We have easily about 6, 7, 9, how many categories of scholarships, right from something for the girl child. So you have a scholarship category called as Bharat Community, which is only for women applicants. So we consider them
specifically for
women applicants. Then there are there's a category called as the Vanvasi Dreamer, which is typically for students who come from a tribal community but wanting to do something better, or people who are already entrepreneurs. Students in grade 11 and 12 are running their own businesses as well. So if you're someone as entrepreneurial, you have a category for that, you have a category for sports. So there are multiple ways. There is no necessity for the child to apply separately for a scholarship. That is not required. Every child who applies to us is automatically evaluated for a scholarship as well, merit-based scholarship as well. And depending on what they've written, depending on how they perform in the overall process, we decide as to what is the component of scholarship that goes in. So it's simple. Let's say if I have to score, all 5 categories of selection, all of it comes to a grade of 100. And assuming that my cutoff is maybe 70, right? So if a child gets a 70 on 100 across all 5 sections, they get shortlisted. But if the child gets an 85 on 100, he gets a scholarship, but that scholarship might be on the lower level. If he gets a 99 on 100, he obviously gets a full tuition fee waiver.
So it is merit-based.
It's merit-based. Having said that, if let's say a student gets shortlisted, doesn't get a merit scholarship, then they can write to us for financial assistance as well. Yes, on a means-based as well. We do have certain documentations and processes that we will sort of look at. If that is done, we can go ahead and award them. So I don't think that is you have to earn it for sure. And once you earn it, you also need to continuously earn it year on year. You need to maintain a certain CGPA. You need to have a couple of commitments that are there that you need to do. but then it's not a reason why I would not want to. It's not a reason for denial of admission for sure. So if you're someone who has the potential, you think that you can give me the attribute match, you think that you can contribute to the society, and you're truly driven by impact as a story as well, then just apply to us and then we can go through. What would be advisable for students is to apply early.
Okay.
So my early admission cycle, my early decision cycle, which gets over by the 30th of November. You need to apply by the 30th
So
of
we have
November.
1 month to apply
Yes.
in the early round
Yes.
of Rishihood University.
So by 30th of November, if you finish your applications, in the first or the second week of December, your process happens. By your aptitude test, first interview, you will be called to the campus as well, so that you can experience everything on that day. Within a week or so, I will let you know whether you're shortlisted or not.
Correct.
If you're shortlisted, do you get a scholarship or not?
Okay.
By end of December, you can submit an admission confirmation fee and get your admission done so that you can just focus on your boards. Now, what are the benefits? A, if you're applying early, naturally the size of the size pool of consideration students is very minimal.
Okay.
There are lesser number of students applying in the first cycle, so your chances of selection increases. Number two, the entire scholarship pool is available to you. Therefore, the chances of you scoring a scholarship which is up to 100% of the tuition fee is much higher than in other rounds as such. And for us at Rishihood this time, at least for this year, I don't know about the next year, this year for sure, in January we are taking our students out to Singapore for a 2-day education tour.
Okay.
So we decided that, if students are joining us in December, and if they are willing to come in, they can spare those 2 days, let them also hop in on, so that they can start getting an exposure of how learning happens at Rishihood much earlier, because then you can take that 5-6 months before you come onto the campus in August to actually get to know us well. Prepare yourselves better before you come into the university. So those are there. Round 2, then वो 100% नहीं होता, 50% scholarship तक restricted रहता है. If you go to the round 3, then the highest scholarship that you can get is 25% of the tuition. Round 4 is barely 10%.
Okay.
So it depends. So if you're someone who really needs scholarship, then the first round is something.
First round is essential. Okay. So I think all the viewers will take note of this, that first round, early round is most important, most significant from the point of view of admissions, selection process, and the kind of scholarships that you can get. Now, beyond this, I would like to also ask, especially those who are new to, let's say, this university, people, those who are studying in class 10th, 11th, and they are yet to plan their, studies for some university. Do we have some connections that we can build for them in some sort of schools or some sort of summer school, I mean to say, or winter school?
Okay, so there are a lot of learning interventions.
Or some kind of cohort.
There are a lot of learning interventions that we do because I think it's a very crucial decision. And to be honest, the decision to go ahead with what sort of university should not start in grade 12, which should start way back in grade 9, 10.
Correct.
The research process needs to start earlier. So that by the time you come to grade 12, you know clearly that this is the sort of program, this is the sort of interest area that I want to pursue. So we are conducting a winter school in December between 24th to 28th of December. That is open for students in grades 9, 10, 11 and 12. It's a residential program, 5-day residential. You come onto the campus on 24th, you leave on 28th. The idea is, can I give you exposure to multiple academic modules?
Okay.
Right from psychology to entrepreneurship to technology, theatre, music, everything. Get you a flavor of how life is in a university, because you'll be sharing space with the others as well. So you're staying on campus. It's very difficult for a student, at least today. My time, my parents never pampered me so much, but today, if I have to ask the child that go and set your cupboard, it's a big deal. They don't know how to set your cupboard. They don't know how to wake up on time without assistance from someone.
True.
So I think a lot of that independence as well comes through. And those 5 days are a student's window to understand how life functions in a university. Can you function in a very good university yourself or not? And I would advise that every child who is between grades 9 to 12 should ideally do at least 2 summer programs a year. 2 programs. In India itself, we are at least 6 or 7 universities that conduct a summer program, which are very qualitative. Get a certificate at the end of it.
Okay.
Put it across on your profile. So when you come in grade 12 and apply to me,
You
I
already
know
say
that,
that
yes,
you
I know
already-
that you've actually taken the pains to research and
Hmm.
know what about yourself,
Hmm.
know about the sort of university, and then you've come.
Correct.
It's not because my uncle said that go to this university,
Absolutely.
therefore I'm coming. So that is necessary. Outside of that as well, because for a winter program, there's a summer program in May, June, very similar, but it happens on a longer duration. That happens for about 7 or 8 days.
Okay. Okay.
That students can come in. We do a lot of boot camps
Okay.
in schools as well.
Okay.
So a lot of our school partners
Mhm.
do get together with us when we do a 2-day boot camp on grand challenges or creativity boot camps.
Mhm.
On campus, we do one day, single day boot camps, but those are more school driven.
Okay.
And then outside of that, I think the easiest intervention that someone can pick up is whether you apply for a winter school or a summer school or the undergrad programs or any program for that matter. We give access to about 10 online sessions to all students.
Okay.
And that's an impact initiative for us at admissions.
Okay.
Because in a year, we meet thousands of students.
Correct.
A lot of them apply. I may not select all of them.
Correct.
But then those kids are engaging with me as well. So I would want the child to take some value out of that interaction from us. So we launched a program called as the Catalyst, which has weekly one session online. Log in from anywhere that you want to. These are online webinars. Outside of this, we do counseling sessions, one-on-one counseling sessions, a lot of things. And the perspective is that we help a child make an informed decision. So, and we give a certificate for that. So even if, let's say, you decide to do an MBBS degree, which Rishihood does not offer, I'm okay with it. At least you know that you want to do an MBBS degree, and you can use it wherever, whichever college that you want to go in for. You can use it. You become an informed person. So access that. I mean, the application form is about 1,000 rupees for any program. So you pay that 1,000. You're obviously going to be. You have the chance to be part of Rishihood, but at the same time, you also get a profile building program that is part of it. So use that to ensure that you are, you have an easier way to decide where to go and such.
I think this is great. I think we have got good information about the Rishihood University, and we would like to thank you
so much.
Anju, for coming all the way and guiding all of us towards how to choose a college and giving us so much of information that is going to definitely help us in taking a decision which is about a college. So I would request all my viewers to go through the website of Rishihood University, and you have applications online also available. And if you want us to help you with that, we also have the facility of getting your applications filled here at Young Achievers. And even the preparation part, which is the selection part, we prepare students for that. So as far as aptitude tests are concerned, or interviews are concerned, or your statement of purpose is concerned, we will assist you in getting the best out of your own, I would say, personality. And thank you very much for listening through this podcast. Once again, thank you so much, Anjuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We are grateful to you for
Pleasure coming.
Thank you so much.